Hello, and welcome to Life as It Is Today with Dora Middleton. And today I would like to speak to you all about being a grandmother. I am a grandmother of 4 beautiful grandchildren. I just turned 47 a few months ago. And I hear a lot. People say to me a lot, well, you don't look like a grandmother. And my question to them is, well, how does a grandmother look? And when I tell people, well, when I go to my grandchildren's school to pick them up or go to Grandparents' Day, oh, are you their mom? No, I'm not their mom. I'm their grandmother. Oh, you don't look like a grandmother. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. It's a compliment, so thank you. But I just often ask myself, how does a grandmother supposed to look? Are we supposed to be the ones with the big hats and the flowered dresses, no makeup, just looking like plain Jane? I don't think so. I feel that we have to be comfortable within ourselves, love ourselves. And if you want to be sexy, as long as you're being classy with it, why not? You don't have to have turtlenecks buttoned up to under your chin. Shirts buttoned up under your chin or, turtlenecks on, and you don't have to do all that. As long as you stay classy, everything is fine. I love clothes. I love to shop. I love to look beautiful for myself. I'm not doing it to get attraction, for other people to be attracted. I am just doing it because I feel good about myself. I love who I am. I'm confident. I have very, very high self-esteem. And I just think that people shouldn't judge others on the fact that they feel you don't seem like a grandmother because your dresses aren't to your ankles. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a grandmother and your skirts are up your ass, that's a problem. That is a problem on every level because it shouldn't be that way. But if you want to wear something that shows some of your curves and, just that's sexy, that's your right. It is your right as a woman to do so. And I don't think anyone should ever hear, but you don't look like a grandmother. And I can recall where, social media, you're due to speak to anyone from your past at any given moment. I can recall a situation where an old classmate from 9th grade contacted me as an adult a few years ago. And she sent me a friend request on Facebook. There's that social media for you. And for hours, this woman kept sending me. I accepted her. And she just continued to send me all these messages, asking all these questions. I took a picture with a friend of mine that's more like family. And actually, he's family. We consider him family. And we took a picture, and she told me, she asked me, oh, who was that man you were sitting in his lap? No, I was not sitting in his lap. It might have come across like that, which I don't even, looking at the picture, there's no way I could have been sitting in his lap which I know I wasn't, but the way I was positioned on this picture, I couldn't have been, but it's like she was just looking for so many different things to say. And that was weird. It was weird. It was crazy. And I didn't understand where she was coming from. And then she looked through my pictures and she said, "Oh, so you're a grandmother?" I said, "Yes, I am." Then she sent another message and said, "But you don't look like it." I said, "Well, what does a grandmother look like?" "Oh, well, I just don't, you just don't look like one." I said, "Okay, but what do you feel a grandmother should look like?" And I'm just asking like a simple question that she just did not want to answer. And after that, after asking me all these questions, are you married? Are you this? Are you that? And it seems like the more I answered her questions, the angrier she got, which I thought that was just so strange to me. But she went on and she eventually, after the last question she asked me, I answered it. I was being nice. And she unfriended me after the last question she asked. I mean, it's like she had an issue that I don't know if she felt considering our ages. Maybe I shouldn't have looked as young as I did or what she felt I was supposed to look like. But whatever it was, she wasn't happy. And I thought to myself, I said, now who would go through that much trouble to befriend someone just to unfriend them for no reason whatsoever? But I laughed about it. I said, people do crazy things that we don't understand. And I tell you what, I don't try to understand them because I'm not going to wreck my brain over it. People are people. They are how they are. But I was just kind of wondering about the whole "you don't look like a grandmother" thing, because I just hear that so much. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's something I've always wanted. And when you ask people that question, because that's the question I always ask them, okay, well, if I don't, then how does one look? Can you explain that to me? What's different? In your eyes, how should a grandmother look? But no one can ever answer that question for you. They refuse to answer that question for you. So that's my question for you all. What exactly is a grandmother supposed to look like? Is there things that she's supposed to do differently? Is she not supposed to date? Is she not supposed to actually love who she is? Love herself in her own skin? Is she supposed to put on flowered dresses, big hats? What is it that everyone wants from a grandmother? That's my question. So I shall return after this quick break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life as It Is Today with Dora Middleton. And in today's segment, I was talking about being a grandmother. And as I stated earlier, I often wonder what people feel a grandmother should be like. And because we always get, "you don't look like a grandmother." But what I have noticed is, what about the grandfathers? I can honestly say, I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, you don't look like a grandfather," because they don't zoom in on men that way. For some strange reason or another, the grandfathers can look all handsome and be sexy, but they are never questioned. It's never anything said about them like, "you don't look like you should be a grandfather." I never hear that. So I'm just still stuck here wondering, why is it always that we, being a woman, we're always asked the same question, or we're told the same thing, that we don't look like a grandmother? Is that kind of like, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, has anyone else out there ever thought, why is it that they don't question men like that? Is it just okay for this man to be handsome? He's not walking around looking like he's just ready to just do nothing. He's not walking around in his little flowered shirts, his socks and sandals. No, there's a lot of handsome grandfathers out there, around my age at that. But they're never questioned. And I don't get it. I had two of my grandkids came to me and said, we showed our friends your pictures and they said, wow, she's pretty, but she doesn't look like a grandmother. And they said, well, our grandmother doesn't look like that. And I had to laugh because they told him, well, why does she look she looks sexy, but she's a grandmother. And I had to laugh because I'm like, wow, you even get that from the children too, huh? See, because it's in everyone's mind that we can't, as a grandmother, we can't be sexy. Are we not supposed to be considered beautiful and sexy? Or are we just supposed to be grandma, granny? Why can't we be this gorgeous woman with these beautiful grandchildren? Why do we have to be a certain way? Why? And speaking of that, you hear one of my grandchildren there. But okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the real reason people are so stuck on the beauty or stuck on how we should be? What is going on with that? Why is it that everyone just won't let us be great? Let us do us. Let us be the grandmother, the mother that we are, and let us love who we are inside and out. Let us just be happy. We shouldn't have to explain to anyone why we're not dressing a certain way, or that after telling people we are the grandparent, why is it that we're left explaining to ourselves why, explaining to not ourselves, but explaining to other people why we look the way we look? Like, we're not aliens. I understand, a lot of us do look young for our ages, but why should we have to explain that? Oh, no, after we tell you we're grandparents or we're grandparent, we're grandmother, why do we have to turn around and say, no, we're not the mom? And they, really? You're the grandmother? Wow. You're aging really well, you look so young. Well, okay. It's a blessing to age very well. Yes, indeed it is. But I'm 47, okay? So I'm not 74. But don't get me wrong, there's a lot of beautiful 74-year-old women out there. Gosh, my mom is very beautiful. She's the bomb, So there are a lot of beautiful women out there. But I'm so confused about this whole thing, to where as a woman are we left explaining ourselves, but men, nothing is ever brought to their attention about why they're looking so handsome as a grandfather or a papa, or, what's going on with this? They can be great. Let us be great. Let us love who we are. And finally, let us not have to explain who we are, even after we've told you 4 or 5 times that we're the grandparent. Which is no big deal to me. I just think that that's just something we shouldn't have to do. If we say I'm the grandparent, accept that. We're not just running around saying, oh, I'm the grandparent, and we're not. Why would we be the parent and pretend to be the grandparent? Come on. Let's be serious here. Let us be the sexy, the beautiful grandparent that we are today. And let everyone accept that we're beautiful, that we're sexy, and that we can always be beautiful and sexy. And we don't have to put on the granny dresses with the knee highs. We don't have to do any of that. Let us love who we are. Let us be who we want to be. As long as we are good grandparents, it shouldn't be based on how young we're looking or how we don't look like a grandparent, how we might not fit what society feels a grandparent should be. Grandparents should be just sitting at home and cooking and baking. And don't get me wrong, I love to bake and I love to cook for my kids and grandkids. I do it all. But I also love to be beautiful. I like to be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, look at her. She's the bomb. She's beautiful. Yes, I have, my self-esteem rocks, and I'm not going to change who I am. But what I would like to see change is that one line, well, you don't look like a grandmother. That's what I want to see change. And I'm sure there's a lot of other grandparents out there that would like to see that change to where we don't have to explain this or explain that. Or when people look at our pictures, we should have to answer, well, you're not looking like a grandmother. We just let us be beautiful. Let us do our thing. That's all I'm saying. And think about why it's okay for men to be handsome and sexy and be a grandfather, but it's not okay for a grandmother to be beautiful and sexy. That's just not right. And I think that everyone needs to think about that. Why is that? I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's something that I think people need to talk about, because if it's that big of a deal to where people are always asking us the same thing, are you sure you're the grandparent? Well, yes, I'm sure. I'm not the parent. I'm definitely the grandparent. Then that's when I think that we all need to have a discussion. People have got to learn that you can be beautiful, sophisticated, and classy and still be a grandmother. So how about treat the grandmothers the way you treat the grandfathers? You don't question if they're really a grandfather, no matter how good they look. So let's not question us as the grandmother about why we look as good as we do. How about that? Well, I would like to thank you all for joining me with this segment on being a grandmother on Life as It Is Today with Dora Middleton. Until next time, it has been a pleasure doing this segment with you all, and I'll see you later. Or shall I say, I will definitely talk to you later. Bye-bye.